All right. Well, hello, and welcome everyone to our BG5 Live. Today is December 1st, 2020. This is episode number 81. And today we're going to be exploring trait 9 and quality 5. So we're going to take a look at have faith through the power of focus. So that's what we're going to take a look at today. Before we jump in and get started, let's say hello to our panel. And a huge welcome to Anna. Welcome, Anna. Great to have you join us.
Thank you. I love being here.
Wonderful. Welcome, welcome. And let's go to Chris. Hey, Chris, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. So glad you're here.
Great to have you. Welcome, Chris and Rob.
Hey, everybody. I'm glad to be back.
Yes.
And I'm glad that you're here too, Anna. Thanks for joining us.
Great. And Natalie.
Yay! Yes, I'm happy you both of you are back. So it's going to be great again. Welcome everybody.
Great. And my name is Karen, and welcome to our BG5 Live. So let's dive in and let's explore have faith through the power of focus. So we are now continuing our journey through transformation, and I didn't do this very well as far as setting up my bullets. I forgot to do that. So let me just add them all here. There we go. So anyway, we're continuing the journey of transformation. We're now in December. Can you believe it's already December? So December, we can see that the theme of December as we continue our journey through transformation, we have a lot of sharing here. So the theme of sharing transformation. And we're starting our sharing transformation with focus. So this is the energy for details in trait number 9. Just so you can kind of get the whole perspective of where we're moving towards as we move through December. In December, we're going to be taking a look at fixed patterns. So we're going to take a look at the fundamental attunement to the natural rhythms. And again, this is collective. This is about sharing. We'll also be taking a look at sales and marketing. So sales and marketing as something that is transformational in trait 26. This is the natural salesperson. This is tribal. Then we'll take a look at ideas. Once again, collective sharing ideas. Ideas are stimulation for reflection. And then we'll take a look at the behavior of self in the 10. This is the love of self awakens. This is the individual. It's very interesting that the 10 happens on the winter solstice. So I think that's always very fascinating to see that. It's really the midway point, if you will, through transformation. And on the other side of that, we have vitality. We have this joyous vitality of the 58. This is stimulation is the key to joy and the zest for life. And it's once again, collective sharing. And it's very interesting. Christmas always happens when we're in trait 58, this joyous vitality celebration of Christmas. So just find it quite fascinating. You can see today things have shifted. You'll notice that we no longer have that definition currently of the 6124 that we've had for most of this year. You'll notice that we do have the definition of socialness, this 2212. So this is the individual sharing. This also is in a sense that transformation to the collective, if you will, in this empowering this 2212. Excuse my kitty here. And also we have the 2644. We have the transmitter. So again, a lot of potential sales propaganda going on at this time as well. So kind of an interesting time that we're in, kind of watching it all unfold. Again, this time of transformation and also sharing that transformation. Before I move on, just kind of taking a look at December as a whole, I wanted to see if anyone on our panel has anything that they would like to add or anything that they would like to share. regarding what we're taking a look at here as we move through December?
Not everybody at once.
I'll say something. I just think it's very interesting with the whole pandemic idea of the whole last year, people having to retreat and be alone. And now everybody's restless, everybody's interested in socializing, whatever your beliefs are, the momentum is there for sharing again and the whole idea of sharing has changed over this year. A lot of it's been online. A lot of sales and marketing has changed over the year, so people are really ramping up now. Sort of they've figured out a few things, become ingenious in different ways of marketing. So it just seems like a very ripe time to sort of outgrow this last year.
Yeah. Yeah. And think about it, we're in transformation as well. So, transforming from this year to whatever is in store for us next year as well. Yeah. Thank you for that, Anna. Anything else, Chris or Rob or Natalie, that you'd like to add?
Well, it is for sure a period of of contemplation or wrapping up, or how do you say that? So it's kind of closure, huh? And closure in apparently in sharing, which is fascinating. And I was really triggered by the winter I don't know how
Solstice.
solstice, that it's actually behavior of self. Like that's when we truly, it's the most inner point in kind of the weather, and at least in this hemisphere, right? And then really returning to yourself, right? Before diving into Christmas and celebrate all the joyous vitality and the New Year's and etc.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and like I said, I also think it's fascinating that every Christmas we have the joyous vitality as well. The pressure of that. Yeah. Very cool. All right. So let's dive in to taking a look at this trait number 9. So again, taking a look at focus, this energy for details, right? This collective sharing of details. So it's taming the power of the small, so really getting into those minute details. And this is something that Natalie knows very well. This is the potential, and the potential can be fulfilled through detailed attention to all pertinent aspects. So taking a look and paying attention to those details of all the aspects. This is the logic demands determination and continued experimentation. So this is the collective logical sharing, and logic needs that determination, this continued experimentation, this continual practice to master, to be able to see those details. And like a funnel, this trait focuses the enormous power to concentrate on what is meaningful and worthwhile. Now, we can get lost in the details, but we can also focus on what is meaningful and what is worthwhile. And this particular trait can zero in for long periods of time on all the detailed aspects of a product or of a project or an issue. And it can properly test or assess the formulas, both for yourself and for others. So this is one of the strengths that happens to be what we call a format strength. What I mean by that, it sets up the format or the energy or the frequency, if you will, for the entire logical collective circuitry. So it's all about focused concentration, and this is the focus. So I know, Natalie, you have this several times in your design, and you're the one on our team that really helps us focus. So I would love to hear from you a little bit more about what this trait is all about.
Boy, oh boy, yeah. So this is my only strength, the 52-9 of concentration. So, and I have both the 52 and the 9 twice in my design. So I have this format strength in essence twice. Having the strength, you are truly laser focused, right? So that's I remember my first full analysis with you before even studying BG5. That's the thing I remember, which is true. But then again, cannot really focus on anything that doesn't bring me joy, or that I don't respond to, right? To put it in BG5 words, because then I just cannot sit down. But if I am into it, wow, I can do really long hours of getting into every single detail. So and also having kind of a detailed eye. So whenever there is layout on PowerPoint or things in, I'm not such a strong one in grammatics, but if I were stronger, I would see everything, right? But it has to do with perfecting, and this is actually, kind of how it works between myself and Karen. Karen is a great starter. So you have the 53 in your life work, which is getting things started and in a cycle. And then so she creates, not from scratch, but creates the courses. And then at the point that I started teaching it, then I start perfecting like little thingies and just a little bit more and a little bit clearer, more logic, whatever, right? So it's kind of a nice trade-off. And the other thing with a format strength or trait, even if you have just a trait, you bring that energy, right, to what you have, you broadcast. So what I do bring is this concentration for people around me as well. So if you were to study next to me in the library, and you have trouble concentrating on the information, when you sit next to me, you go like, dive in. And when I get up and take a coffee, you go like, where did my concentration go? I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I also, this is something I share, of course, in the foundation course when we go through all of the strengths and traits of each of the circuitries. And I always kind of jokingly say to my students, you are very fortunate that you are in class with me, because you are very concentrated to everything I say because of my strength. But it is also, then they notice, what is, and potentially you listening to me babbling on here, you're very concentrated to what I say. So I do know this. And the other thing, so I've written a case study. It's actually up on the website in the free resources, the article again, we've reposted it. I cannot multitask and do multiple. I can a little bit, but I cannot. So I in my previous we are more focused with you. Yeah. So Khalid is here, and he's a student of mine. So both in foundation and certification. So exactly. So in my work experience, I've been put forward, like having the promotion, right? Raise up the ladder. That's the way to go. So becoming a manager, or project manager, or whatever. And then once you are a manager, you have multiple things to, kind of be on top of, but not in detailed focus, but just supervising or whatever, right? And I cannot do things superficially. I just can't. Even in my students will say, know this very well. When I review projects, I cannot just go over it I have to sit down and sometimes it takes me hours because I just see everything and then I process in how to, bring it in a positive feedback that somebody can learn, but not overdo it in all the details that so anyway. So what I learned from having my first consultation with you, Karen, way back, like 5 years back, so what happened, I actually couldn't handle being a manager, not because I cannot handle responsibility, but I cannot handle having multiple tasks. It just imploded because I didn't know where to focus on first. And if I would start something, I felt defocused, like, so I was just shifting around like the things I needed to do, like literally on my computer from my email to whatever Excel I needed to make, to my presentation that needed to be done. And then in a daytime, I did nothing because I couldn't concentrate. And now I can totally dive into BG5, which is something I really respond to and love. And I can use my energy very beneficial. And I love teaching. So it's yeah. And then for our meetings, this is something like if we go in our meetings and we take off track, then I go like, yes, so we didn't decide on this, or we have to, come to a conclusion. So I get everybody back focused. I hope that was enough, but
Beautiful, beautiful, Natalie. I love it. And this is the thing, if you have this particular trait, you are designed to focus.
yeah.
And if your focus is all over the place, in a sense, you have no focus and it can burn you out very easily. I do recommend reading Natalie's case study because it really illustrates what this trait and especially what this strength is all about. That concentrated focus, that if if you try to do too much, if you're too scattered, this is like a laser beam, and a laser beam doesn't work if it's scattered. That's the whole point of the laser beam. It is, laser focused. And that's what this trait is all about.
And the other thing, the drive and stamina function is a pressure function. So there's this adrenalized pressure to concentrate. But the only way to to use this energy is to focus. Like other traits in the drive and stamina, if there's energy, you can release it by exercising, by physically being active, right? If there's nowhere to put it. But with this concentrated focus, you cannot. So the only thing is to be able to focus on something you love doing. If at the times I had these jobs of becoming a manager, I didn't know what, and then you cannot get it anywhere. So it just builds up and then boom, it literally went black, like just empty. Couldn't think, was totally out of it. It could happen also very fast, within a month. Building up, of course, bumping into the same stone, etc. But it's an interesting
Yeah. And that's a interesting point too, right? That's how you release the pressure. You release the pressure through stillness and concentration.
Oh, I like Lisa's question. So Natalie, I love how your picture looks the same as you. Yeah, thanks. I'm curious, did you say you can better focus in a group format as long as you're not the leader? Sorry, I missed something. So for me, yes. I think it has to do with other things in your design. So it's not per definition that if you have this strength, you cannot be a leader. Perhaps like having multiple things, because you can have multiple things in your design that makes you a leader, and then you're concentrated or leading, right? Or but it is my only strength. So yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, thank you, Natalie.
Yeah, so and I've actually, I was reading today as well. If you do not have the full strength, but you do have the 52, then in this period of time, it will give you the potential to finally sit down for something and concentrate and not be like having this pressure and not knowing where to focus, right? So it actually gives you something. And then if you do not have it in your design and you do not have the 52, you may feel now the pressure to focus, but it is more of a, taking you off track. So you may start to focus on something, and then the transit is gone and you go like, oh my God, why did I sign up for this course? Or, so be aware of this. It's potent energy, as you hear me
Yes.
talk. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll shut up.
Beautifully described, Natalie. And Rob, you have what? You have 52 on the other side, right?
I do. I suffer from having the 52. No, I'm kidding. No, it's, and that's part of, I mean, look at where it sits. It's a very big part of my life. It is a very big, significant part of my life. The keynote for this particular trait is, I call it keeping still mountain. I like that. It just has this very Zen ring to it. However, I've got energy and I'm all over the place, right? So like, there's this consolidation aspect that I need to deal with. But in regards to the 9, Natalie, you hit the nail on the head. There is this pressure to focus, and then I sit down and I'm like, on what? Right? I will say, yes, I focused on every single word that you said, and I am more focused with you around. Like, everybody else doesn't know this, but sometimes I'll ring Natalie and I'm like, because I'm all over the place, and then I'll ask her a question, and then she just kind of shows me the dart. She's like, and I'm like, okay, cool, thank you. And it's always handled within like minutes. I just needed to like be with her on WhatsApp or however we connect, or Zoom, and I'm good because I get to borrow her focus, and it really does work that way. I mean, and like you said this week, Natalie, because it is part of what we're all experiencing, I'm feeling the urge to sit down and focus. Right? How am I going to focus the rest of my year? And then how am I going to put myself in a position to begin next year and all of that?
Yeah. Yeah. So this is a great time to, just as Rob said, take advantage of this energy as well, to kind of focus on, what's next, or, where you are, or completing the last year. Yeah, exactly. Anything, Chris, that you would like to add?
Yeah, I don't have either the 9 or the 52. And so I'm over here laughing because, number one, I'm always singing Natalie's praises in my classes, because I'm like, thank you Lord for Karen and Natalie who make the slides, because that is not me. I'm like, I'll paint the picture, but putting all the detail in there, nope, I do not have that. I mean, it takes a lot of work for me. But I'm chuckling over here. I literally have not just one list, but like 3 lists that I'm working off right now. And I'm like, boom, boom, boom. I mean, this week, and I'm just cracking up going, oh, it's the 9. I have so much focus right now on getting those things done. And I love the taming the power of the small. So when I talk about this with my builder clients and my Sacral Warrior program, is that it's when we lose our energy in the tiny details, when we leak our energy, it's the tiny little leaks that end up being chasms over time. And so, for instance, a quick thing I learned the other day is that I have some subscription programs that I have with clients. And months ago, I must have paused one of them for a payment. We were getting a glitch or something, and I must have paused it and never turned it back on. And so then, I look back and I go, oh my God, this client, I've been servicing them and they haven't been getting paid. And that tiny little detail is worth hundreds of dollars. And I'm like, wow. So that ability to sit and focus on all those tiny little details, we think, oh, I'm not good at the details. And yet everything is in the details. And so right now, I just think it's fun and funny and ironic and painful that I'm going through all of the tiny details and going, okay, where are the leaks, both in my
Mm.
energy and how I am in the world, and where are they technically in my business? And so this would be a really great time for everybody to be looking at those details and use this energy to get focused. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Really great, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
A little
interesting. It's
painful.
funny. I have a notepad here too that I have all of these notes on. It's hilarious. I love it.
Well, it's funny too. I'll just say this. I mean, I'm a note taker anyway. I always have lists, right? My lists have lists. I literally have lists that I tack onto my lists. However, what I'm noticing on this one is how detailed it is. Like I'm
Mm.
getting to very minute detail where typically it's more like, did I get this larger task done or not? And so there's a qualitative difference to the list this week.
Wow,
So,
fascinating. I
yeah.
love that.
Mhm.
Thanks, Chris. And how about for you, Anna? Do you have it in your design?
I have the 52,
Ah,
and my family, all my intimates have 9. So,
ah.
and I have, as you see, the open um, drive and stamina and energy resource. So
Mm.
it gets projected out. And I noticed raising my kids, because they both have the 9, and like I said, a whole bunch of people around me, my close people. So I get to see this from lots of different angles. And um, everything Natalie said, and I love working with Natalie. You know, we have a good time in her class. But this taming, I think it's interesting about the taming, because the especially raising my kids from tiny little people to maturing adults, I've seen this frustration, the builder type frustration. And since I am very fine with being still and quiet, and I retreat, and I'm an innovator and all of those factors, I'm okay with being still. And I've noticed for them, especially, with this frustration with not being able to focus or knowing, you know, what would captivate their attention, what they would be just hours and hours focused on as, their creativity started building. It was amazing to me. One minute they'd be freaked out and in drama, and the next they would be totally focused on something. And
Mm.
you know their strengths and that kind of thing, they would find fulfillment if that suited them. But if they didn't have something that suited them, oh my goodness. So this thing about taming I find very fascinating, because it is about, life is full of details, just like Chris was saying. And Rob, I love that. Yeah, the kind of the get you can get scattered. But I notice in partnership with Natalie, with my kids, with these various people around me, between us, depends on certain factors, but between us, we have the whole strength, and that can fulfill this taming process, this focusing process. It'll sort of the small details, if it's a subject that they like, are beneficial. The small details, if it's not something they like, drive them nuts. And then I am disturbed. If they're having a freak out, then I can't be still. I
Mm.
get a little crazy and scattered and like, oh my goodness, I don't want to deal with this. Because I
Yeah,
can't deal with the builder energy. It's not one of my things to do.
right.
But I think it's really, really important to understand that when you have this trait, the the 52 wants to operate as well, and you attract it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's a beautiful example. And one of the things I keep hearing too is what is meaningful and worthwhile to us, right? It's the details. Natalie spoke to it, Chris spoke to it, Rob spoke to it, Anna spoke to it. It's, that taming of the small, but it's in what is meaningful. It can also be, like I said, distracted by the details, but especially as a builder, bringing forth those things that are really meaningful, that are worthwhile to focus on. Really beautiful. I know we have some comments in the chat area. I don't know if we have anything on Facebook, but is there anything that from our Zoom room or from Facebook that Natalie or Chris or Rob that you would like to read or add?
Sorry, couldn't get my mouse to unmute. Yeah, there are beautiful sharings, both in, I'll leave the chat up, but I'm going to Facebook. Oh my God, long sharings, but beautiful. So Miriam shared, it's interesting what you've shared about, Natalie, it's interesting what you shared about the need to focus. I have the 50-second gate defined with the transits right now. I've received the gift of the 9th trait, but I lost my ability to feel good and in a certain flow by multitasking because I'm a single emotional advisor mom of 4 lovely children and really used to a certain amount of distraction and chaos around me and my creative process. The current transit, so this is the other side of it, that's interesting. The current transit an activation of the full strength then with the 9 on the other side makes me physically react to disturbance in work process with a real discomfort right now. Interesting, right? This is at least a good opportunity to recognize my limitations and practice healthy boundaries, lol. So thank you for all your supporting us with your wisdom and knowledge. And I shared with her, beautiful, just the awareness is step 1 and the half of the process. So yep. It's just, yeah, and fascinating to hear the other side of it. Most of the 52s may be very happy having the 9 to focus, and yeah, this is the other side of it. You can also, and Liana has this trait as well, and I know she's an advisor, and also really can be challenging to be pulled away from what to focus on, right? And not having the opportunity to move into focus. Her body really feels overwhelmed and angry. I need to enjoy the release of flow of focus. Yeah. Let's see what else.
Love all this detailed sharing.
Yeah.
I had my last class for the BG5 certification today. We had a lot of very detailed sharing as well. It's just amazing. Yes. Beautiful.
Yeah, and love the sharing of Anna because Anna, you are also not a builder, right? An innovator in this case, but so not having the energy resource defined and then how it operates. So also for Liana. Yeah, cool.
Cool.
In the chat, Lisa has a good question. I don't know, Lisa, if you want the microphone, but she says, I have the 9 and somehow picked up the 52 from my near-death experience and notice my focus is now from a sitting position versus on my feet. LOL. Is there something to this? And then she says, too shy. So is that clear to everybody else, or do we need more clarification?
I think that makes sense. So I think I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I would play with that. I don't know if you're playing a little bit, Lisa, or if you're actually or asking a real question. But my guess is that 52 brought in that ability to sit still. Yeah, you're serious. Okay. So, okay. On your feet, I don't know if you're a builder type or not, Lisa, but if you are, right, then you would be having that like more energy active, right? And so then you bring, you're a projector. So yeah, I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I can relate to her comment. I mean, you know, the context isn't quite clear, but just in terms of having a profound experience,
Mm,
when you talk about meditation, inner spirit, you know, the format energy that um, is provided throughout your circuitry. Um, in my personal experience, having something profound happen, um, it is truly like a compass.
mm,
It's an energy that you can sit into or stand into. It doesn't have to be, how would I say, uh, the drive and stamina is that pressure to move into the energy resource. So the energy between those two functions can be really intense for a non-sacral person. But being able to sit in that in a still but not passive way. I mean, I do a lot of stuff. I mean, I'm active and move around. But there is the stillness of the experience of having something deeply guide you. And maybe that's of use to people to understand that, you know, all the meditative practices talk about being still. And this is in the logic. And it's easy to get really busy when you're logical in your, you know, use all your mental ability. But that stillness has to do not only with your body energy. It's not like passive. It can be passive, but um, it's just a way of relaxing and surrendering in a way, and not having to move into this constant driving energy to produce something. You can work without this intense pressure.
yeah. Yeah. Beautifully said, Anna.
So I'm having a real life moment here, and I don't have the 952. I am feeling incredibly restless. I'd actually really like to move on to the next slide. So I thought I'd be real, you know, what the hell? Like I can feel it. It's like this super, it's funny because my husband has the 952 and he can sit for hours. And there's times where, like, if I do it too much, I'm like, okay, I gotta move. And it's so anyway, I'm just having that. So I'm just amplifying it. I'm amplifying.
I love it. And it's a, you know, it's a beautiful example of, again, how it affects each person as well.
Yeah.
And when we take a look at the fifth quality is about faith. And it's very interesting in our last class that we just Rob is my assistant there. We just finished up. It was interesting that the conversation was actually about having faith, which I thought was really fascinating. And remember, quality 5 is about the messenger, and this is the trust that detailed adherence will lead to fulfillment. And it's exactly what we were talking about in our class today, which was, it's just amazing. So the elevation is the loyalty to the letter of the law, the power to focus and bring value to concentration. Now, on the other side, we have the challenge. And the challenge is like the mystery of God, doubt engendered through the perceived illogic of a process, where the lack of power to concentrate leads to doubt. So I think this is it's pretty amazing. Wouldn't you agree, Rob? This is a lot of what we talked about today with people sharing in class
We,
today. It was amazing.
yeah, it was wild. So yeah, there was a lot of focus. There was a lot of details in the sharing. And then, yeah, you know, so many times your answer back to them was have the faith, have the trust, you know, that things are going to go you know, as they should.
Yeah. You know, and the fact that, you know, in studying human design, BG5, you know, in going through the certification, the transformation that's possible, and really, in a sense, once we understand how our design operates, that faith in our own design, that trust in our own design, that trust in our own decision making strategy. It's really, really powerful. Yeah. Anything else, Natalie or Chris, that you would like to add?
I don't dare to.
So I'm sorry, not sorry. I just
No, exactly. Very good. I've said enough.
Angela said she was
Hey.
feeling restless too. I'm not the only one.
Exactly. Exactly.
Chris, I'm
I've done
totally
my
that
job.
way.
He's
I'm
so
totally that
scared
way.
of me.
I think
Oh,
I know
shit.
everyone's scared of Chris now. Everyone's gonna defer to Chris now.
I'm such a general, right? I'm such a 5 general.
I would just like to move on, please. That was awesome. But you know,
keeping
it's
it real, people. I'm keeping it
well,
real.
Chris. So when you said that, reflecting on my presentation to McCormick's when I was talking about this isn't about the 9. It's about the shadow of drive and stamina. I was giving bullet points to each. I was listing out the bullet points as to the features of the shadow of the drive and stamina. And one of the things that I put in there was, and those of you that have this shadow are wishing I would move on to the next slide. So when you said that, I was like, wow, we're like brother and sister.
Totally. Oh my God.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it.
Well,
That's
and
funny.
again, it's like it shows us what amplification, what happens,
Yes.
and where it can be. It's like, you know, what happens is that part of my wisdom is I can feel that it's like we're getting too focused. We now need to pull back and like go move on. And that's also part of it, is that there's this finding the balance between how deep do you go, and then being aware of, okay, we're on over, you know, or at least I have to speak for myself, is like, oh, I'm on overload, I have to move now, we have to move, it's too locked in and I can't track that much focus. So but if you have the 9, you're like, oh yeah, no problem, we could hang out for hours. I'm like, I have to go to the bathroom, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just that type of thing. Anyway, so it's all good. I'm good. I don't have to go right now, but you know, it's sort of like if you're at a party or something, or you're in a deep conversation. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And I think that's a really great illustration, Chris, too. It's, you know, the pressure to move on. Lisa said, you know, love it, Chris. You know, and I love how you illustrated that too, where it's, you know, it gets too focused. Again, I don't have either of those traits either, right? Everyone else, but Chris and I have those 2 traits. So it's kind of locking us into this focus where, yeah, you know, time to move on as well. So where to break up that focus as well. Well, very cool. Really rich discussion. And the last piece here, we have Britney Spears here as a pop superstar.
Wow! Cheer up! Are you happy, Rob? Is this your
It's so when we get to this every single week, it's almost like opening a present. Because you never know what Karen's going to bring. And this week it's, oops, I did it again. and then that's all I know, because I don't know all the words, but
You're not focused enough to get all the words.
I can't sit still.
when you see.
It's just so cool how you just blow us away every week with this.
And Tanya is saying, Rob, did you hear?
That just happened.
Oh, hey, puppy dog. She wants to sing too.
Oh, God.
He wants to reward me for the cool thing that I just did.
Good job.
I'm gonna call you Brittany from now on. So Britney Spears, she's a pop superstar. She's American singer, songwriter, dancer, and actress, and she's credited with influencing the revival of the teen pop during the late 1990s and the early 200s, and she's referred to as the Princess of Pop. And here, her first two, it should be her first two albums, which is Baby One More Time and Oops, I Did It Again, sung beautifully by Rob. Both sold over 2 million copies worldwide.
20 million.
Yeah, I'm sorry, 20 million copies worldwide. See, catching those details.
Real life, yeah.
Like that in our meetings too. It's so good.
Perfect.
I'm just doing the colored parts of my design. I can't help it. So this was a great real life experience, guys.
And it's so funny. It's, Natalie can come out and correct Karen and then go, oops, I did it again.
Oh my God. You know, the best part is like, this is really what it's like on our meetings. I mean, this is exactly what it's like working with this team, is that we go, oh, it's your design, you know, like there's just such a beautiful, instead of like, oh my God, you're so annoying. It's like, oh, I totally see that. That is awesome. It's really fun.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Well, moving on, as Chris would say.
I love the comment, Rob Spears.
Rob Spears.
Yeah. We got you.
So
No comment.
Yes. So her life work theme is identification. So you identify where to concentrate your skills on what you doubt or are confused about, and find mental stability in knowing that there are resources in place to assert or address them. You know, so it's interesting. Goodness, my cat is moving my screen. You know, so it's interesting. She also had, you know, she also is known for having a major breakdown as well. Right. So again, probably too scattered, not focused, not having, you know, the resources, you know, or the mental stability to really support herself. So, you know, it's, you know, kind of interesting to be able to see those details here. Very cool. Well, we have had a fabulous time. Again, I recommend downloading your own chart so that you can follow along, kind of see how this particular trait is affecting you. Again, you can join us for our BG5 Live, get a free report, and listen to the recordings as well. Again, each week we dive into another trait and kind of explore sort of the nuances of that trait. And check out our courses and programs. We have new courses that are starting in January, so would love for you to join us. So it has been a really, really fun BG5 Live. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And let's just quickly go through and just a last couple of details, last couple of words of wisdom of what to pay attention to, especially over the next couple of days. So do you want to start, Natalie?
Well, yeah. So we're already in quality 5. So tomorrow is quality 6 of trade 9. So you're almost done with the concentration. But as I explained, so be aware of if you have it in your design, if you have the other side, like the 52, it's beautifully demonstrated today, or if you don't have it, and so not getting off track in all of the sudden wanting to focus or feeling that you focus on something and then, you know, it's gone and you regret the choices that you make. So always come back to your true decision-making strategy to rely on for making decisions.
Beautiful. Thank you, Natalie. And how about for you, Rob?
Natalie, that was beautifully put. What I want to say is, you know, 2020 has been a year. That's the easiest way to put it. And for so many, it has knocked everybody out of focus, right? Because for so long, we were all living on automatic, meaning we had these habits, we were used to them, they were happening daily. There was no break in the circuit. There was no pattern interrupt, nothing like that. And then along comes COVID, and it pattern interrupted the entire world. And some people are still so rattled that they lack focus. They're still just like, and you know, it's easy to lose focus, especially if you're plugged into the media, and allowing them to kind of to be diplomatic, to control you. Okay, use this energy right now that's being given to all of us to stop down and focus wherever that compulsion is, whatever's correct for you, wherever your body is being pulled toward, or wherever your attention seems to be going. Give it that, and use this right now to put some focus in, because I promise you, everything's not all melees and flying all over the place. Yes, we're on a ball of mud. Yes, it's spinning fast. Yes, we're rotating around the sun. We're flying through the cosmic zip line going really fast, but you still can have focus. So just use this energy right now.
Yeah, beautifully said, Rob. Yeah, how about for you, Chris?
I'm going to say really quick, Lisa, you can watch these replays at bg5businessinstitute.com, and there's a whole list of all of the replays on the at the BG5 live.
Yeah.
Once you click there, there'll be a link. You might have to find it a little bit. We're working on that. We're working on making it easier for you to find the replays, but you can find them there. So you bet. And so I think of it like this: is tame the power of the small. So where are you leaking energy in the details? What are the tiny little things, the tiny fissures of energy leaks that you're like, oh, it's not that big of a deal? Start there. And we have a couple more days where you can really, you know, start to uncover those and carry through. But just even one tiny little detail can make a huge, huge difference. And then secondly, when you do find those energy leaks, don't beat yourself up. Just go ahead and fix it, you know, do whatever is required to repair it and move on. So I had a few minutes of beating myself up, and then I was like, okay, I did it. Now I see it. And now I got to move forward. And so, you know, do that too.
Yeah, beautifully said, Chris. Thank you. And how about for you, Anna?
Well, I would reiterate what's already been said, but also enjoy both sides. Whatever your joy is, you know, this is an experiment. We're all experimenting with our design. And if you follow your design with your decision-making strategy, it is going to point you to how you direct, how you focus, and what you focus on, and get the pleasure of it. So if it's time to move on, and this year everybody wants to move on, but in each personal moment, check in. Is it time to move on? Is it time to focus? Am I enjoying this? Am I not enjoying this? Let you know, allow yourself to just witness and become aware of how this operates in you.
Yeah, beautifully said, Anna. Yeah, and thank you so much, each and every one of you, for your comments. We've had a lot of fun today. And again, we have this focus for the next couple days. So take a look at, you know, really what is worth focusing on, right? And where is it time to move on? All right, everyone, have a fabulous week. Look forward to seeing you all next week. And bye-bye for now. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.